Every era has its legends. The ones who see the world not for what it is, but for what it could be. And some of these visionaries leave marks so deep, they don't just shape history, they rewrite it. This is the story of Jeff Bezos, a man whose ambition and relentless drive redefined commerce, technology, and even the final frontier. Born in 1964 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen's early life was anything but ordinary. His parents divorced when he was just a toddler, and his mother later married Miguel Bezos, a Cuban immigrant who adopted Jeff and gave him the name we know today. From a young age, Jeff was a tinkerer, a builder, a dreamer. His family's garage wasn't just for parking cars, it was his personal laboratory. He would spend hours taking apart radios, building solar cookers out of umbrellas, and even rigging up a makeshift alarm system in his bedroom to keep his siblings out. He was fascinated by how things worked, but more importantly, he was obsessed with making them work better. This insatiable curiosity was nurtured by his grandfather, Lawrence Guise, a retired manager for the Atomic Energy Commission. Summers spent on his grandfather's Texas ranch were transformative. He wasn't just fixing windmills and branding cattle. He was learning about self-reliance, problem-solving, and the power of long-term thinking. His grandfather instilled in him a powerful belief: it's harder to be kind than to be clever. This lesson would stick with him for life. Inspired by the Apollo moon landings and the science fiction he devoured, young Jeff dreamed big. He told his teachers he wanted to be a space entrepreneur, a vision so audacious it seemed almost laughable at the time. But for Jeff, failure wasn't something to be feared. It was just a data point on the path to success. His academic brilliance was undeniable. He was the valedictorian of his high school class, and his graduation speech hinted at the future. He envisioned a future where humanity would expand beyond Earth. He went on to Princeton University, where he initially pursued physics, but quickly pivoted to his true passions: electrical engineering and computer science. He graduated with top honors, a summa cum laude distinction that opened doors to the most prestigious firms in the country. The logical next step was Wall Street, the epicenter of ambition in the 1980s. Jeff quickly climbed the corporate ladder, working at several firms before landing at the hedge fund D.E. Shaw. He became the company's youngest senior vice president, a testament to his intellect and work ethic. He was successful, wealthy, and on a clear path to even greater financial triumph. But a quiet restlessness was growing within him. He was building financial models, but he felt a deeper calling to build something tangible, something that could fundamentally change the world. Then, in 1994, he stumbled upon a statistic that would alter the course of his life and, eventually, the world. He read that the internet was growing at a staggering rate of 2,300% per year. The number was so absurd, so explosive, that he knew it represented a once-in-a-generation opportunity. He made a list of 20 potential products that could be sold online, from music to software. But one item stood out: books. There were millions of titles in print, far more than any physical bookstore could ever hold. The internet offered a way to create a bookstore with a virtually unlimited selection. The idea was exhilarating, but it meant leaving behind the security and prestige of his Wall Street career. He presented the idea to his boss, who listened patiently and then gave him some practical advice. "That sounds like a really good idea, but it would be an even better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job." After 48 hours of deliberation, Jeff chose the path of uncertainty. He and his wife, Mackenzie, quit their jobs, packed up their lives, and drove across the country to Seattle, a city known for its pool of tech talent. Jeff famously wrote his business plan in the passenger seat on the way. In a garage in Bellevue, Washington, with a handful of employees and a pot-bellied stove for heat, Amazon was born. The initial setup was laughably simple: a few makeshift desks built from doors, a handful of computers, and a bell that would ring every time an order came in. In the early days, the bell rang so infrequently that everyone would gather around to see who the customer was. But soon it was ringing so often they had to turn it off. They weren't just shipping books, they were pioneering a new way of doing business. Jeff's mantra was simple but revolutionary: obsess over customers, not competitors. He instilled a culture of day one thinking, treating every day like it was the first day of a startup, full of energy, urgency, and a willingness to invent. They worked long hours, packing books on the floor, driven by the belief that they were building something special. But the path to building an empire is never a straight line. The dot-com bubble of the late 90s was a period of wild optimism, but when it burst, it was catastrophic. Amazon's stock price plummeted from over $100 a share to less than 10. The media turned on them. Critics and analysts who had once praised their growth now called them Amazon bomb. They were dismissed as a reckless, unprofitable venture destined for the dustbin of internet history. The pressure was immense. The company was losing millions, and the specter of bankruptcy loomed large. Inside Amazon, the mood was tense. Yet, in the face of this existential crisis, Jeff's resolve never wavered. He gathered his employees and told them to ignore the stock price and focus on what truly mattered: serving the customer and building long-term value. Instead of panicking and cutting back, he doubled down on innovation. He understood that failure wasn't the opposite of success, it was a part of it. He embraced experimentation, even when it led to expensive flops like the Pets.com investment or the short-lived Amazon auctions. Each failure was a lesson, providing valuable data that would fuel future triumphs. It was this resilience, this ability to stay focused on the long-term vision while the world was screaming for short-term profits, that saved Amazon. Slowly but surely, the strategy paid off. Amazon survived the crash and emerged stronger, leaner, and more focused than ever. The company that started with books began to expand its horizons. It wasn't just an everything store anymore. It was becoming an everything company. In 2005, they launched Amazon Prime, a radical concept at the time. For a flat annual fee, customers got unlimited two-day shipping. It seemed like a money-losing proposition, but Jeff understood it wasn't about shipping costs. It was about changing customer behavior and building loyalty. It worked spectacularly. Then came the Kindle in 2007, at a time when physical books were still Amazon's bread and butter. They launched a device designed to disrupt their own core business. It was a classic Bezos move: invent the future, even if it means cannibalizing the present. Perhaps the most transformative innovation of all was Amazon Web Services, or AWS. It began as an internal project to manage their own sprawling infrastructure, but Jeff saw its potential as a business in itself. They began renting out their computing power and storage to other companies. It was a revolutionary idea that gave birth to the modern cloud computing industry, powering countless startups and established giants alike. From high-tech warehouses run by robots to Prime delivery drones and the expansion into entertainment with Prime Video. Jeff's vision was creating not just products, but entire ecosystems that transformed global commerce and daily life. But even as his earthly empire grew to unprecedented scale, Jeff's gaze remained fixed on the stars. The childhood dream of space, sparked by the Apollo missions, had never faded. In 2000, long before it was fashionable for billionaires to have space companies, he quietly founded Blue Origin. His goal was audacious: to enable a future where millions of people are living and working in space. For nearly 2 decades, the company operated in relative secrecy, slowly and methodically developing reusable rocket technology. Their motto is Gratitim Ferociter, step by step, ferociously. This long-term vision culminated on July 20, 2021, the 52nd anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Jeff Bezos, along with 3 other passengers, strapped into the New Shepard capsule and launched into space. For a few precious minutes, he floated in zero gravity, gazing down at the fragile, beautiful Earth. He had become the astronaut he dreamed of being as a boy. The journey was more than just a personal adventure. It was a powerful statement that the limits we perceive are often just starting points for the next great leap. The story of Jeff Bezos is a masterclass in modern ambition. Think long-term, even if it means short-term pain. Obsess over your customers to the point of fanaticism. Embrace experimentation and be willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time. And never, ever stop dreaming beyond the horizon. Jeff Bezos didn't just build a company, he built a new paradigm. He showed the world what happens when relentless customer focus meets audacious long-term vision. His journey is a powerful reminder to us all. Dare to dream, dare to build, and dare to leave your mark on the world. Thanks for watching. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to join us for more legends of our era.